Health Siren presents how to stay healthy and free from disease, a part of series of talks on health, healthy living and how to manage the body towards that end. This talk is about our body, immunity, its benefits, and understanding our bodies better.
This is a very powerful statement. The more you know, the more you realize how little you know. We have used this as part of the introduction because we believe all successful people in life, whether they are academics, whether they are teachers, whether they are scientists, whether they are businessmen, entrepreneurs, or skill-based, hard-working small businessmen. Everyone in their own field at some point in time realizes that you need to learn more and you keep learning more and more and more. And as you start learning more and more, you realize that you really do not know as much as you thought you knew. This is because you realize that you may know a lot more in your field of specialty, but in the world around you there is so much more to know that this slogan, the more you know, the more you realize how little you know, brings total humility and relaxation and understanding of the vastness of nature, knowledge around you. The other statement we have made very carefully is about being a founder of concept of staying healthy and free from disease. I would like to clarify that here. I don't believe this concept is something very novel and new. Ages ago, when we look at the different yuga as we know it according to the Hindu calendar, the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga, which were eras, they are not the past year or two, they are thousands of years at a time. People in the Satya Yuga did not have any health problems. They were free from disease, they were healthy, they were happy, they followed a disciplined life, they regularly exercised, they enjoyed the pleasures of life, but everything was within reason. They did not do things into excess. They were honest, they were sincere, there was no stealth or jealousy or anything like that, as we know it. But as the era changed from Satya to Treta to Dwapar and coming to Kali Yuga, our lifestyle, our attitude, our behavior has shifted to a level where today in the Kali Yuga era, for the last thousands of years, we have been suffering from various diseases and problems. And today it has arrived at a stage where we accept disease as a condition of living. And as part of that conditioning, we have gone far away from health and forgotten that it is a possibility that we can be healthy and free from disease. To revive this concept, I have actually put forward this notion, and hence I have referred to myself as the founder of the concept of staying healthy and free from disease. This program is for every one of you with the intention that each one of you should become freer from disease and enjoy life. We hope each one of you makes the most of this opportunity. Now, there are certain conditions that are essential for you to make a shift in your life to attain these goals. The first essential is you need to switch from survival to living or enjoyment mode. And I might narrate a simple example. If I'm a poor man and I don't have enough money, I will travel, walk around and get around, or I might travel by public transport, which is the cheapest mode of transport. But if I'm strapped with cash and I've got plenty of money, then there's a possibility I'll have my own vehicle, two-wheeler, four-wheeler, or I might go by cab, or I might go by luxury vehicle. This is what I refer to as survival mode and living and enjoyment mode. The similar concept applies to health. Today we are living a life where as we need, we are making the most of it. But we are not stretching our bodies a bit further to get that little bit extra where our lives start feeling healthier, feeling better, feeling energetic, etc. And we'll talk a bit more about that. But latch on to this concept of switching yourself from a survival mode to living and enjoyment mode. Now, freedom from disease is a concept. And this concept is mainly focused on immunity. Now let us understand immunity. What is immunity and what is it about? Firstly, let us understand that immunity is something that we can preserve. So we all have got a certain amount of inherent immunity in our bodies. So if we preserve that, then that immunity is going to help us. The next part that we can influence immunity is by developing immunity, by having good habits, good lifestyle, good food, good diet, good digestive habits, etc. As a combination of preserving our immunity and developing our immunity, we can actually grow that immunity. Imagine if I was developing my immunity, but if I had a leaky bucket where I drained my immunity instead of preserving it, I might just be topping it up and not actually growing further. So the concept of immunity preservation, immunity development, and immunity growth is essential to help us towards better health options. Naturally, when your immunity is better, this keeps our body healthy, it prevents disease, and for some people it might be actually able to reverse the disease process if it has not crossed the point of no return, which we refer to as a cure for diseases. So again, what is immunity? Immunity is our body's ability to ward off the elements, so whether it is cold, heat, etc., the rigors of life, the stress and strain, physical, mental, emotional stresses of life that we go through, or if we are suffering any minor disease states. So fundamentally, it is our ability to stay healthy and overcome any hurdles, whether they are physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, that traverse our path in life. So again, getting back to immunity, let us understand a little bit more about what it is and whether we can quantify it in any way, and what are the options we have. In today's scientific world of modern medicine, where things are based on evidence-based and parameters of scientific evaluation, let us look at the investigations that generally go through when we have a medical checkup and the significance of them and how we could do better. I'm just taking a few parameters. So as part of our blood tests, we'll look at hemoglobin. It is well accepted that the normal range is ranging from somewhere around 12 to about 16. People may have hemoglobin a bit higher than 16 and it's accepted as very healthy as long as it's not too high. And people may have a hemoglobin of about 15, 14, 13, 12 and it's accepted as within normal limits. But the moment it drops below 12 to 11, 10, 9, then the medical profession is very concerned about your health, and they start prescribing medications, lifestyle changes, diet, etc., to help you elevate your hemoglobin towards the normal range. Now the concern I have is, I know for myself, when I was younger, my hemoglobin used to be in the 16 range. Today my hemoglobin is about 12 to 13, 14. But nowhere have I been instructed by anybody about the fact that, look, your hemoglobin is 13 or 14, why don't you do X, Y, Z to try to get it up to 15 or 16 if it was 16 in the past, so that you will be healthier, you'll be more energetic, it will be useful. It is sad to note that, as per my opinion, our study of science has limited ourselves to not understand the various separations of hemoglobin being 12, hemoglobin being 13, hemoglobin being 14, 15, and 16, and thus being able to prescribe strategies to help us become more normal and go more closer to better quality of health. A similar attitude to look at all tests in a normal range exists across most parameters as part of a blood test. So I've just referred to hemoglobin in detail, but RBCs, WBCs, creatinine, etc., are looked at in a similar manner. I will not go into all those details, but let me just address the liver function test. I refer to the liver function test specifically because when we have a liver function test and it shows normal as per the parameters on investigation, unfortunately, it actually tells us that our liver is not necessarily 100% in working order. It is more closer to 40 or 45% in working order. The rest we really do not know. Now, it also means that if my liver is working 40-45%, I'm in very good health, as in physiologically functioning health. But the same effect is translated differently by people in different areas of life. If I tend to love my drugs, alcohol, if I'm on heavy medication, if I have sort of addictions of tobacco, drugs, and toxic materials that are likely to be forced upon my liver to detoxify me, my liver could be damaged up to 40, 50, 60% before the liver function test flags me as a problem patient. This is abused by some people to say my liver function test was okay, so I can continue my lifestyle as I am, even though they might be abusing themselves. Some such similar situation exists with the kidney function parameters, but I won't go into details there. Now we are going to talk about pH. Now the normal range of blood pH is 7.35 to 7.45. Now as you can see, and as I discussed before, it's a very big range. When the pH comes down to 7.35, we generally say things are getting dangerous, fairly sick, severe illness. But when the pH is closer to 7.42, 43, 44 or 45, we say it's quite good. But we have not used that range to exactly tell us that we are on the downhill side and we need to do something to improve our health. So ranges are good, but they have their limitations. So overall, in my opinion, it appears a very arbitrary analysis, and thus the outcome of immunity is very difficult to ascertain with clarity. So getting back to immunity, and let us look at the three major pathis that are prevalent in India. We'll look at allopathy, where we have just looked at the investigations, but another surprising factor as part of my experience with allopathy is generally it has been observed that people who are feeling unwell, who might have a feeling of the flu coming on, who might have frequent urination, on immediate testing, their parameters may show normal. But within 24 to 48 hours, invariably, those parameters change. What does this tell me? That clinically, the presentation appears well before objective scientific investigative parameters change or are influenced to change. Now let us look at the traditional sciences of Ayurveda and traditional acupuncture. Both of them have systems of subjective evaluation where an Ayurvedic Vaidya or a traditional acupuncturist, if they are experts in their field, have got the capacity to use pulse diagnosis, which is subjectively objective, and as per Ayurveda, using pulse diagnosis and diagnosing the body's harmony or disharmony based on kapha, pitta, vata, the doshas, the body type, and their detailed examination, they are in a position to say there may be impending disease, there is subtle disease process going on, and thus you need to take care. Similar is the case with traditional acupuncture, where they have an array of tools like pulse diagnosis, tongue diagnosis, body science. Again, it is a subjectively objective evaluation. They also have clinical signs, observations, and symptoms, which, when linked all together, can provide a good format of your level of health. So, getting back to immunity. So, to understand immunity better, we may start to have to look at what is good health. And to understand good health, we need to understand what is health in the first place. So, let us try and look at health and see where we go. So, what is health? Health is a state where we do not suffer from any complaints and all parameters are within normal limits. Now, this is very easy to say, but we have been referring to immunity, normal, etc., etc. So, the question comes, what are truly normal limits? Now, this is very important to understand, as today the definition of normal has shifted a fair bit towards accepting ill health at various levels. I will repeat this statement. What are normal limits? It is very important to understand, as today the definition of normal has shifted a fair bit towards accepting ill health at various levels. Let us look at the health scenario presented on a continuum here, where on the left we have good normal health, where they don't suffer from any problems and they are in good normal state. The body is working very well. And at the other end we have a disease, and when we have assumed here that when disease progresses bad enough that it may lead to death. We know that is not reality exactly. So we have a condition where we are normal at one end, death at the other end, we have disease closer to death. And then we have our current health, which a lot of us are suffering minor and major problems, and we consider we are okay and we are normal. I'll give you a classic example. The other day I had a patient talking to me and said, oh, I'm a diabetic for the last 5 years and but everything is normal. And I said, excuse me? And his comment was, yeah, I'm normal. I just got a ache and pain in my knee. Can you fix it? I said, first, let us start. You are not normal. You are a diabetic for the last 5 years. You have got problems and your body is not in harmony as it should be. And clearly understand that before we go any further. Similar is the case where when we come to good health, most of us think we are all okay, but we do not have parameters to tell us what is good health. And thus it becomes difficult to get to normal or understand what normality may be. We also have been taught over the years, last many years, that absence of disease is good health, which is also a very arbitrary and unfair description of what is good health and what is normal. So now, having talked about normals, let us look at whether we can list what is normal and what is abnormal. And generally it is easier to list what is abnormal and to get a concept of how we consider ourselves normal when we actually have suffering issues. So let us look at a few things. The things that we have normalized over the last 20, 30, 40 years as part of our life, or maybe longer. I can only speak for my generation. People suffer from headaches. What do? We take a tablet, drink a cup of tea, coffee, and just accept it as part of life and keep going on. People have mood changes. Of course, the whole range exists from slight mood changes to great mood changes. But we have that and we consider that's normal, that's my personality. People have poor sleep. They wake up tired, feel lethargic, and they continue plodding along and think that that's okay, part of life. People may have reduced energy. They feel tired all the time. They feel like sleeping at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and don't have energy to carry on. Women may have period cycles which are irregular, where they are losing excess or deficient, or they may have very painful periods, and we consider that as part of normal living. People suffer from cold hands and feet, or clammy hands and feet, or there may be undue anxiety and nervousness. A lot of people have poor appetite, or they may have bowel and bladder functioning problems. And all these we have normalized to think it's okay, there's nothing wrong. Then there are symptoms like body aches and pains, or morning sickness in pregnancy, or bumping into things. A lot of us bump into doorways, bump into walls, bump into a step, and we think, oh yeah, that's normal, I do it all the time. I'm a bit of a bumper. Or frequent falls and slip-ups, or feeling under the weather. You just feel you're not the best and you just push your body through that and accept that and that's part of normal. Or having pain and suffering in any form. Now we have referred to all these things as we are normalizing. But why are we talking about it? And the real question that we need to look at is it possible to have life without suffering and discomfort? And the simple answer in big bold letters is a big yes. Y-E-S. Yes. As long as we are prepared to change. I'm going to read it again. Is it possible to have life without suffering and discomfort? The answer is a big yes, as long as we are prepared to change. And for that, we need to put in adequate resources towards that end. So when we talk about change, what are the things we are talking about? They come in two categories. What can we change and what can't we change? So let us look at what can't we change first. We cannot influence our bone structure. So if I'm 5 foot tall and my bones have got a certain length, I cannot change that length after maturity. So at 25 or 27, I cannot say now I want to be 6 inches taller. My bones have become long enough and that's it. They are not going to change. So the size will not change. But can the strength change? Yes, the strength could change by having qualitative bone mass. Other thing that I can't change is if I have any deformities from birth. So I might have maybe an extra finger or some deformity of the body, spine, organ, whatever. And that is very difficult or nearly impossible to change. Then the other thing we cannot change is our genetic imprint. So my face, my eyes, the color of my eyes, my features, which are all based on genes, cannot be changed. My blood group, which is inherently mine, cannot be changed. Having understood what we can't change, let us look at the positivity and see what are the things that we can change. So, anything and everything that is dependent upon our working physiology. So, we have a body and the body is working 24/7 like a machine. And we are in a position to modify that physiology and the working by doing different things. So again I repeat, what can we change? Anything and everything that is dependent upon our working physiology. Example, breath. So if I am breathing each breath for about 3 seconds, if I can modulate that to 8 or 10 or 12 seconds, then you are changing your physiology. My muscles. If I'm a weakling, but if I do exercise, my muscles become strong. If I really push myself, I can become stronger and my muscles grow. And when my muscles grow stronger, I feel better. I'm changing my physiology. My diet. If I eat good, regular food, disciplined diet, disciplined lifestyle, disciplined eating, I can change my body. If I eat junk food, it's going to show. My digestion. If I improve my digestive system through diet and through exercise and through other means, then the absorption factor will change and my physiology can change. My sleep. If I have good quality sleep, disciplined sleep, proper time, etc., it can influence my physiology. So can mental functions, reading, writing, thinking, emotions, etc. We won't go into all those details. But when we talk about change in physiology, these things are actually changing our parameters that we talked about. So our RBCs, WBCs, hemoglobin, sodium potassium balance, etc., etc., based on all these different factors as a combination. So now, to round off, we have started talking about immunity and we have come to the point that what can we change to bring an immunity around. We are going to close on this topic today, and the next topic we'll be discussing will be how do we go about bringing about change? What are the things we need to consider? To give you a brief background about myself, I'm Anand Bapat. I run an acupuncture and natural therapy clinic in Pune. We teach Surya Namaskar. We also are in the process of looking at bringing scientific observations to naturopathy. I'm a proponent of Shivambu propagation, and we offer a free internet clinic for health. For those who are interested, they can contact me on email. And currently, we are offering a freedom from disease educational program, which is part of what we are doing now. This will be a series of topics addressed on YouTube. We also have a 4-hour freedom from disease lecture that we offer to people live, and these are our activities. Health Siren has been kind enough to assist us in propagating this ideal. This talk has been about immunity and how to change ourselves. The idea of this series is to help each one of you grow and guide you all to better health and to become free from disease.
Thank you, Anand Bapat, for your valuable information on health. This series is a 12 to 15 part series on developing oneself into a healthy person. This series will educate, guide, and provide support through our online educational and support services to enhance your health. We welcome all queries on email. Here is a brief about Health Siren and how to connect with us. Please subscribe and share our channel if you like this video.
Download app Health Siren for all health solutions at your doorstep.